You know, who was at movie night this past week? And where was it? It was right here. You know why? Because the chairs are more comfortable. We're going to talk a lot about chairs this evening. You know, when I was in rabbinical school, listen up, Rabbi. What year are you now? Finish your third year. So this is for you. When I was in rabbinical school, I was visiting a friend in New York City, and we went to the local synagogue for Friday night services. I introduced myself to the senior rabbi, to which he asked, and, what are you up to these days? And I said, I'm studying to become a rabbi. To which he responded, perfect, you can come and help me move chairs. And that's what we did. Oh boy, chairs are a big part of my life. And it often is quite stressful, whether they are safe, high chairs, where they are installing car seats, checking in to get the best seat on an airplane. And that's not even thinking about the drama of all the seating arrangements at weddings, who rides shotgun, that's the front passenger seat, right? Or who has to sit in the middle back seat. And what about every day when kids argue over who gets to sit where at the dinner table? And that's why it's amazing when we read in our Torah portion, Bamidbar, that the children of Israel did all that the Almighty commanded Moses. That is, the way they encamped according to the flags, in the way that they traveled, each person in an organized manner according to family. Unbelievable. In our Torah portion, the first of the book of Numbers, Bamidbar, we witness a tremendous miracle. It's not the manna that fed miraculously the Israelites that came down from the heavens. It's not the fresh water in the middle of the desert. It's not the divine protection or the guidance of the pillar of cloud or pillar of fire. Not even the gifting of the Torah at Sinai, Matan Torah, that we're celebrating here in just 24 hours on the holiday of Shavuot. What was this miracle? That the Israelites did something without complaining. The Israelites are instructed to order themselves in this organized manner in the Israelite camp formation with 3 tribes on each side of this square, north, south, east, and west. And of course, the Levites were in the middle, and they were in charge of the tabernacle, the Mishkan. Each person in each tribe dutifully accepted where they were positioned. This was not passive acquiescence or bored indifference or a tyrannical patriarchy. This was not blind faith or fear of authority. Here the rabbis would say Adarabba, a rabbinic term meaning quite the opposite. Because not only did they not complain, our ancestors are teaching us how to create order out of chaos, how to put civility back into civilization. In the desert, the wilderness, as often it's translated, there are no roads. That's often actually the definition of a desert, of a wilderness. No road signs, no direction, nothing to foment order. There is nothing more valuable, nothing holier than peaceful togetherness. This is no small miracle because peaceful togetherness is not the default position back then and not today. Peace and order require constant work, constant attention, and constant love. But our Torah never confuses togetherness with sameness. Each tribe had its own flag. Reuben had a red flag with the flower of the mandrakes. Shimon had a green flag with buildings of the city of Shechem, Nablus. Levi had red, white, and a black flag with the high priest's breastplate. I'm going to go on and on. This is fascinating. Judah had a sky blue flag with a lion. Yissaschar had a bluish-black flag with a sun and a moon. Zvulun had a white flag with a ship. Dan had a blue flag with a snake. Naphtali had a deep wine purple color with a deer on it. Gad was black and white flag with a tent. Asher had a pearlescent colored flag with a tree on it. Joseph was represented by a black flag with Egypt depicted on it. And it had 2 parts for his different sons, one for Ephraim with an ox, and Manasseh had a wild ox. Benjamin had a multicolored flag with a wolf. the detail, the nuances. And that's why I want you to understand. It wasn't just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Or A, B, C, D, E. There was nuance and detail in each flag, representing the desire for togetherness and consensus cannot become an excuse to negate individuality, free speech, or free thought. Each tribe literally waved its own flag, not to show indifference towards others, but that they were okay with being different. This was not about one group, one tribe vying for power against another group. This viewing the world was not one where everyone's in constant battle with one another. And that's because the Torah maintains personal identity over group identity. Right away at the beginning of our Torah portion, first there is a census count to count each individual. That's individual identity. Then there is recognition of each family, familial identity. Then there's tribal identity, and then there's this national identity. Our ancestors understood that honor begins on a personal level with our character and our actions, not where we sit at the table. It doesn't matter where each tribe was located, their position in the camp. That was not the source of their honor. Rather, the dignity comes from within. Each person counted because they were a unique soul, created, of course, in the image of God. Each one responsible for their character and actions, creating a healthy sense of self, of who they were and who they were not. This was no easy task for anybody, especially for former slaves. And if they could do it, you know what? We can do it too. They embraced their individuality and identity without rank. I remember when in the army, we would jokingly ask one another, what is the highest rank in the army? You know what it is? To not be in the army anymore, to be a free civilian, that no one can tell you to do push-ups, right? To be free to have responsibility for our own emotional well-being and our own destiny is the greatest freedom, the highest rank, the grandest honor. Our sages in the Talmud said this, get this, it is not the place that honors the person, but it is the person that honors the place. It is not the throne that ennobles the king or queen, it is one's wisdom and behavior that enables others to give that person their due honor. It took 8 seasons of the hit TV show, Game of Thrones, to learn this lesson and finally see the Iron Throne that was sought after finally destroyed. Apologies for the lack of the spoiler alert. Or as many of us have been following this past week when we commemorated the 75th anniversary of D-Day, when our brave soldiers, 160,000 Allied troops, fought on the northern coast of France on June 6, 1944, to free the world of the evil and pernicious Nazi regime. The individual courage and commitment the world witnessed is why we still honor them today. It is not the title that honors, it's not the uniform, not the fancy degree, not the large home, not the fine clothes, not the new car, not the nice watch you get. You get it. And yet it is so easily confusing for so many of us. Think about someone you honor. What is it about that person? Now think about something that you think gives you honor, but I bet there is some action, some quality, some hard-earned character traits that you possess that is really the source of your honor. And that is why you being here gives honor and makes this a holy place. That's why our rabbis teach that God is found in the synagogue, here with us in the sanctuary in Temple Israel, here in Memphis, Tennessee, because each of you have gathered here. The glorious space lifts my spirits and facilitates my awe of God. Yet it is each of you that gives honor to this space and every place you venture onward. We must never underestimate the tremendous power each of us has to gain. You know, visiting someone who is ill or lonely, all you have to do sometimes is a phone call or a letter. Going up to someone before or after services to say hello or introduce yourself. Checking in with someone, leaving a message even if you know they may not call you back. Letting them know you care. You are thinking of them And that is how you can bring honor to the places that you visit and that you explore, to your home, your temple. It's not always so easy to do. So God, help me do this. Be with me when I think that others don't need me. Be with me when I feel that my presence doesn't make such a big difference. God, remind me that there's no greater honor than moving chairs to honor others. And God, encourage me to model that honor and that dignity. And let me know what that looks like and feels like so I never forget that you will give me strength and that each of us are most honored when we act honorably with others. Shabbat shalom.